Today I will help you show you how I turn my paperback book into a Kindle book. So first of all, I log into my KDP, Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing account, and you can see that I have this is my bookshelf, and this is the book that I'm going to convert. You can see that right now it's only on paperback. If you see this one, for example, you can see that it exists in two different versions, Kindle and paperback. This is actually just the first version, so it's unpublished. But we're going to take this one, and what I'll do is instead of starting up here, creating a new title, here I'm going to create a Kindle book, and that saves me some time because what it did is it transferred or imported all of the details from the paperback book, which is exactly what you want to have. So it's all in here. And I own the copyrights. I already have the keywords. I can always change the keywords. The categories, I'm keeping it the same categories. It's not for children. The I'm ready to release my book now always made me kind of nervous because I'm not ready. I didn't do anything yet. I didn't upload anything yet. But it's really either I'm ready or make it available for pre-order. So that means that I want this book to already be available for people to know that it's going to be available for they can order it now and get it later. I don't typically like to do that, especially since it's going to take me just a few hours to finish this. I may not do the few hours in one shot because I still need to edit, and I'll show you how I edit or format, not really edit, format it for Kindle. But I'm just going to go with I'm ready to release. So when I'm done and I click publish, it will be released, and I'm not just going to make it ready for pre-order. I'm going to click save and continue. So at this point, I'm going into the content itself, so we're not wasting any time. And they have guidelines on everything. I'm not actually going to go here. The supported file types, it's actually pretty simple. It's they have their own version of format that supports digital rights management. And what digital rights management means is that nobody can just forward that book from one person to the other, which is important. I mean, you can distribute your book on PDF, but at that point you lost control. I mean, the book is worth nothing because somewhere somebody can get it for free. So I'm going to enable digital rights management, which means that it will be only distributed through Kindle and their specific Kindle format. Which means that the only way to get access to that file and be able to read that file, maybe getting access to the file is going to be easier, but the ebook to read that file is only going to be to people who bought this book or you sent them this book as a gift. At that point, it would want to get the ebook manuscript, or it's going to ask, for the cover. So I've already made the cover when I prepared my my paperback. I'm going to bring this. It wants JPEG or TIFF only. So this time it's not going to accept the PNG version, and I believe I did create a PNG version. So I'm going to stop here for a second, create the JPEG version of the book, and then upload it. If I go to the guidelines, you can see everything that they need. It has to be 72 DPI, and that's kind of a minimum. It has to be one of those formats. Ideal dimensions for cover file are 2560 pixels high and 1600 pixels in width. So this is important to know when I'm about to create the file for it. I'm in Photoshop now, and what I'll do is I'll just open, this is one of the recent files. It is actually in PDF. I'm importing it in PDF, and yes, this is what I want to get. I'm going to open it. At this time, I'm going to crop And the ratio, I'm just going to, it's actually 1.6 to 1. Actually, the first one is the 1 and the second one is the 1.6. But what I'm just going to do is get the right number of pixels that they recommended. They said make it 1600 pixels and by 560. And once I do that, I get the form factor of this book. And now what I'll do is I'll just move it so that I get it in the right form factor. I will also remember that, there is this gap. Oops. There is this gap that needs to exist all around. So I'll just make sure that I am moving the book to just keep that gap that existed in the paperback. Actually, it's built. I built it into this. So maybe just move it a little to make it look a little better. After all, that's the name of the game. It needs to look better. I'm going to accept. At that point, I'm going to save to export it. I'm not going to export as PNG because they specifically asked for JPEG. So file type instead of PNG, I'm going to go with JPEG, and I'm going to export it. This is what I've created. It's a PNG file, and they asked for JPEG, so now we're creating as JPEG. Save. And we're done. I'm not going to save what I did here, and we're just going to go back to KDP and now upload my cover file. So I already have a file ready, a cover file ready, and I'm going to go back to my directory for this book. This is the only JPEG, so they're asking for only JPEG and TIFF, and they found this file. We are going to upload it. Successful, and in a few seconds it will finish processing the file, and you can see what the cover would look like, and there it is. The next step is going to be to format the book, and what I'm going to do is create there is an app that Kindle Amazon has that will convert my file. It's not as smooth as you would hope, but I will use that. So use Kindle Create, that's the name of it, and I'm going to download it for free. Download to a PC. At this point, the file is completely downloaded. I'm going to run the installer. I agree, of course. It will put it in Kindle Create. I already have it installed, and I think that this would be a good opportunity to see if this is a new version. It's always a good idea, because I don't do that every week. It's a good idea to make sure that whatever software you're using, you have the latest version. Completely installed. I'm going to let it run Kindle Create. Oddly enough, it did not say that I already have another version. Early access to Kindle Create. I think I'm going to go with no thanks. I'm not going to be a beta tester for other functions that they already have. So I'm just going to say no. And at this point, it will either take one of the files or I'll create new. At this point, I'm going to leave it and pick it up as I'm ready to start formatting the book. I'll pick it up at the same place. Once I open Kindle Create, the thing to select is Create New. So we're starting with a new project. Ignore all the others. Those are the last versions of my Book of Trust, of the Book of Trust. And I'm going to say Choose. It's important that we choose reflowable. Well, it really depends on the type of book that you're going to record. Reflowable is what the typical book looks like. Comics obviously looks different, and print replica would look different as well. So we're going with reflowable. We're going to choose a file. It's going to be a doc or docx for newer versions of Word. So this is a Word document that we're going to open. This is the last version of the book itself, and that's what I'm going to open. It is importing, it is converting. I'm not going to worry too much about what it's going to look like at the beginning, because I bet that there's going to be some formatting to do. And I'll take you through it. Well, it looks like it has brought up that book. Import was successful. As soon as I click the X, I'm going to probably get a shock of what this looks like, but don't worry, it's just formatting. And we're going to get started. Actually, the front page does not look that bad. What you'll notice is that it asks which ones are the headings, and it gives you quite a few headings. And the thing is, what it did is it used my the way I formatted the book for print on using Microsoft Word. I indicated what's a heading 1, what's a heading 2. And I will record a video on formatting the book itself in Word, regardless of whether it's for Kindle or for paperback print or hard copy. But it is important to be consistent with that, and it looks like that's how it looked at it. So it did look at a lot of, since I have a lot of one-page chapters, there are a lot of tips in this book. It's really 60 plus 1 habits. It wasn't sure that it wanted to select those as chapters, but they are chapters to me, and so I am going to select them. I'm going to see what they look like. Even before I select them as chapters, actually, there are already links here, so that works well. So far, the book looks good. I'm not happy with this drawing, so I'm going to change a few drawings. One other thing is the drawings here are black and white because I prepared them for the print book, and I would want to make this book since this is an electronic book, it doesn't cost anything to have them in color, so might as well have them in color for the Kindle version. So far, things look pretty good, actually. I just want to see what the chapters look like, the different habits. And you know what? I don't know if I would want to change it. I mean, this looks pretty good. It's consistent with the way I did that, and maybe especially since at the beginning it just said it did give me here the links to everything in this book. So I'm going to just say accept selected, and there's not going to be a lot of work on this book to convert it to Kindle. I'm going to go into formatting right next. I've been going through the file that Kindle Create has converted from my Word document, and I have to tell you that it actually did a pretty darn good job of formatting it, and I don't think that there's going to be a lot of work. Obviously, we're going to see. One thing that I looked at, though, is I clicked on the help and about Kindle Create, and what I see is that the version 1.52.6.0 was last updated on March 22nd. So I'm talking about a version that's only 3 weeks old. So I'm sure that they keep on fixing bugs and improving it. But at first glance, they did a pretty darn good job. And that's what I'm going to start. That's my starting point here. Okay, I have not converted, I have put all of the images that I have, the originals of the images that I created myself, and you can probably see them in some of the other videos and how I create them. But I put them in the one directory where I have the book, and what I'm going to do now is just replace things. And interestingly enough, it only wants JPEGs. And unfortunately, the images that I created are not JPEGs, they're PNGs. But that's not a big deal. I will convert them into PNG very quickly. First of all, I'm going to do Control Z. I don't like leaving something in the middle of a process, so I'm stopping it, bringing the old image, and now I'm going to be working on converting everything to JPEGs. One of the easiest way to do that is actually going to be right-click on an image in my directory. It asks to open it with, so I'm going to open it with, I can open with multiple, but frankly, Paint would probably be the fastest way to do it. So Paint is open, File, Save As, JPEG. Same name and save. Transparency would be lost. That's fine because my background is white. And that's it. That's how I convert it. I'm going to convert the others as well. Now we can see them, and I believe that this is the one that I'm after. You can see the quality is much bigger, although much better, although the image is a little bigger. So let's see what happens if we do medium, and we'll put it on the left. That would put it just about where it was before. Okay, this is good. Let's just keep on going to the next ones. I did want to read to you the dedication for this book. I like putting dedications in books. This one is for project managers, and so I dedicated it to all project managers who must lead without authority, yet are fully responsible for the outcomes. Yes, that book is for you. Even though this one is in color, but apparently I believe that it would be a PNG, and maybe it just doesn't handle PNGs very well. So I'm just going to get the one that I just created and see if it looks better. It does. It looks better with when it's in JPEG. They sure do look better in color and as JPEGs here. I don't find a way right now. I can find a way to make it different. I think what I'll do in this case is actually once again do that within Paint and just go to that image because here I can rotate it. And so if I'm going to rotate it like this and then save it again, and see, it says that it already exists. I'm going to say yes to replace it. Let's look what happened. Let's look at what happens now. I'm just going to say replace what you really mean, open it, and it works. It just works. Yes, save. That's great. That's perfect. Okay, I'm going to have to convert this one as well. I should probably still have it open somewhere. It is this one, PMI 3. Note that before, when I made it smaller, I really just made it zoom smaller. It already exists. I did not really change the attribute of this file. So if I looked at resize here in pixels, I still have a file that's 1100 wide. And even at 300 dpi, 1100 would give me 4 inches, which pretty much would be what I get to put in that book. Okay, let's go back to the book. Replace it. This was PMI 3, I believe. It is. And at the end, I have this. So let's take this out, and I would actually put this at the end. So let's insert an image, and the image is going to be this high trust, high performance image. I still think it's a little too big here. Medium is too small. Large is okay. I like this much better. I wonder if I can put a link here, especially since this is insert hyperlink. What do you know? And let's see what happens if I put hyperlink. Guess what? We've got ourselves a hyperlink. As I said, not crazy about this image. For some reason, I don't know why, but in some images it would give you the replace option. In others, it will not. So I'm just going to, yes, save. Of course, we need to save. I'm going to just include the image that I have brought. Way too big. Small on the left side, maybe even medium on the left side. Perfect. This is just perfect. So one thing that I did find out is that instead of maybe putting a separator here, I can actually go to, it's not available at the insert here, but if you go to edit and insert split chapter here, it will move it to the next page. Somehow it still took the period, so I'm going to bring the period back here. As you go through the process, you're going to find several things. One of them is that it has this little quirks of how you translate into the Kindle format, and some things would just not work. You're going to have to try and find ways around it, turn things into images and so on. This was not too bad at this point, I would have to admit. One of the next things that you're going to do is take a look at what this looks like. So there is a preview button here, and I'm going to click preview. And then it would actually give you different types of devices, whether you want tablet or tablet that's sideways, which by the way is not the way it's going to look like, because at least I know with my iPad, when I look, it does give me 2 columns instead of 1. But that's okay. You just go through it and take a look at what they believe this is going to look like. So you just scroll back and forth, and let's see what happens if we click on something. It takes us to the right chapter. See, I still need to get rid of this image, and I'll do that. But now it gives you a sense of what this would look like on the device. I'm still not 100% confident, and I'm not going to release it until I actually watch it on the device, which we'll do. But even now, I just found that there was something that I needed to correct. So I'm going to go back to correcting it. Just take your time, spend your time over the file, and make sure, at least initially between the editing of the file and the preview of the file, make sure that you have the right, that it looks good. Even if you don't charge a lot for this book, even if you charge 99 cents for this book, you probably don't want your readers disappointed because something is just not right. A sentence that broke in the middle and was never completed, things that got out of the natural flow. So this is what I'm about to do right now. This is going to take some time, so I'm not going to record the whole process, but I'm just going to go page by page. And the other thing is, what you don't see is that on another screen in my computer, I have the print book, the print book file, and I'm just comparing them side by side to see what they look like, in the Kindle format versus what it looks like in the printed format. So I'm going to go through that and get back as soon as I'm done. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that in the printed format, you may have a few empty pages, and I'll talk more about that when I talk about how to format your book, because if you want something to appear on when you open the book on the right page as opposed to on the left page or the back page of the previous page, you would want to put a blank page. Not so much in Kindle. In Kindle, you're not going to have, or any other electronic format for that matter, you don't want to have just empty pages that have nothing in them. So just keep in mind that while the printed file will have empty pages, blank pages, the Kindle electronic format will not. One more thing, again, especially since you do have the ability to add color in an electronic format, then if you, for example, decide that your level 1 header is something that you want either on a different size or maybe bold or something else, maybe you want a different font for it, and just change the color and maybe even choose an advanced color. And I know that the color that I use has the code of 32751. This is a dark blue. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm doing it in the wrong place. It's here, 32751. That's my dark blue. I'm going to say okay. Maybe the size is going to be a little smaller, maybe font 20. Maybe I want to make it bold. And as soon as I changed it for this heading, what you'll see is that it actually changed for all other headings as well. So they are now dark blue. It is very dark blue, so you can't probably see it as well, but it did change it for all of those types of fonts. One other thing that I realized is that while for the printed book I may want to have this space from the top of the page until where the page really starts, here I may not. And so if you go to the right, again I'm highlighting this area, and you go to the right under formatting, what you will see is spacing before, spacing within the paragraph, and spacing after the paragraph. I have 2 here, and you will notice that if I make it smaller, I'll make it 1. It just it may look better. I may consider it. Yep, I consider it looking better. In fact, one thing that I do want to do is actually add a little space. Nope, not this. A little space after. So after the header, just a little space. This looks just about right. So let's save it. Okay, I made a few changes, a few minor modifications. I even found an image that I forgot to convert to JPEG in color and edit that. Now, one of the important things is make sure that everything is listed in your table of content. So what I did was I went to the paperback, to the print format of this book, and I counted the number of entries in the table of content. I was ready to be honest, I was ready to find that the number over there and the number here in the electronic format are slightly different, but as it turns out, we have exactly 73 entries in the table of content in both of them. At this point, am I 100% happy with what I see here? No, there are a few minor things, especially around the headings. There is a chapter that really, I cannot move it to start at the next page because it comes right after a bulleted list. And as it turns out, the Kindle Create app does not let me enter a page break right after a bulleted list. You know, those are little things. The question you have to ask yourself, I said that before, even if you sell the book for 99 cents, you want to make sure that your reader has a positive experience, especially because the reader might be your client for something else and you don't want them to have a negative experience. At the same time, you have to also ask yourself, am I being too particular? Am I trying to be a perfectionist and not have any single little issue here. And I think that at this point, I'm going to say I'm happy enough. It is good enough. It is pretty good. I mean, it's not that we're looking at kind of a bad experience here. I mean, the book, you can see, looks pretty good. And so at this point, I think I'm going to say that I'm ready to move to the next step. And once again, saving one last time, saving one more time, as if that made a difference. And what I'll do here is I'll hit generate. So now we're going to publish this book. So question, where would you want to have this? We're keeping it in the same one. It is a package file, and I'm going to save. Packaging project. Let's see, your file is ready to publish. We're just going to say OK. Upload your KPF file on Kindle Direct Publishing to publish the ebook on Amazon Spring, on Amazon Kindle Store, or as a print book on Amazon. So I'm going to first say OK. And at this point, I'm going to close, and I'm going to open it with, I'm going to look at first where the file is. My guess is the file is going to be in the same folder. And there it is. It is a package. And let's see what happens when we double click on it. I do have a Kindle app on this computer. And sure enough, this is what opens, my Kindle app. So this is a separate app. This is an app that actually lets me read books, books that I have. And so it gives me one more chance to look at what this looks like before I actually go ahead and publish it. So it looks good. It's not the same, you will notice this is a Kindle Previewer. It's not the Kindle Create. So this is a different app looking at my file. So I would give it just one last look. Here, this is, for example, one of the inconsistency, this little image. I tried moving it and it actually looks worse when I move it. So I just decided to leave it here. Not the end of the world. Not too crazy about the fact that as I go through the 8 laws actually have a different spacing. But once again, that's something else to keep in mind, is that you can always later upload a new file and make those changes. So at this point, I'm really interested in moving forward and getting this done. So I'm clicking quickly through it. At this point, I would say that I'm ready to upload the file that I've created. So again, I'm a draft here. We're going to go to continue setup. Everything is good on the first page. Save and continue. I could have just clicked on top to the right tab and get straight into the second tab, which is the content. Upload manuscript. And we're going to get the manuscript from right here. Let's see if this is the type of file that they need. They do say that they're looking for, they're even accepting Word documents. So that would be interesting. What would have happened if I just uploaded the Word document and see what happened? But I'm going to use their KPF format, which I'm going to guess is going to be the same, the best format for them to analyze. It said that it uploaded successfully. It is now processing my file. Well, the processing had disappeared, and now it says that it's just uploaded successfully. And at this point, we already uploaded a cover. What I'm going to do is launch yet another previewer. So once again, this is the third viewer that we're using. it is kind of good that I have three different previewers to watch through, but I'm going to guess that they're all using the same engine, preview engine, and as a result, I'm going to see exactly the same thing. So I'm just taking a brief look at it. I already took a look at it, and it looks good. We're going to go back to book details. ISBN, that's an important comment. You can see here that Kindle ebooks are not required to have ISBN. So you don't need a different ISBN, and the ISBN is still part of the book in the text, but that's okay. I leave it there simply because it helps somebody who decides to buy the book in a printed format to go to know what the number is, if it really matters. Click Save and Continue. We're going to the last page. Book pricing. Do we want to maximize royalties with KDP Select? You can reach more readers, earn more money, maximize your sales potential. I'm not sure why I would not check this box. So there. Do we want to do all territories? Yes, we would like to do all territories. Mind you that not all territories in the world really are included. Here's an interesting thing. Select the royalty plan and set your Kindle ebook list price below. Now you're looking at this and you go, okay, they're offering me 35% royalty or 70% royalty. What's the even question? Well, if I click 35, I actually, the price of this book, you can see, can be between 99 cents and $200. If I click 70%, I have to sell it between $2.99 and $9.99. I will be able to offer some short time promotions and offer it for, I think, as low as 99 cents, maybe even free. Without getting out of it, obviously I'm not going to get 70% royalty. Well, given that this book is sold in its printed format for $11.95, we can argue whether electronic format should even cost more. And I have seen, although very rarely, books that do have an electronic format price that's higher than the printed price. Typically, you would see them lower. And in this case, I would say I would want to offer it for $9.99 for a simple reason, and that is consistency with my other books in this series. The series Can I Trust You? All of them 100 pages long. All of them have tips on how to become a trustworthy whatever it is. So I'm going to keep it consistent at $9.99. I can look at other marketplaces, and it's really just to see what does that translate into. So in India and in Germany, in euros, France, Spain, Italy, Netherlands, Japan in yen, and Australia at the end, Australian dollars. So this is pretty much it. I'm going to choose 70%. It tells me that my book file size after conversion is 1.96 megabyte, which is not too bad. That means that downloading it from Amazon would be fairly quickly. It allows me to lend this book. It says optional, but it doesn't look like I even have an option for me. And my guess that this is part of making this book KDP Select, or even the 70% or a combination thereof. With that, all that's left is just publish your Kindle ebook, and let's see what happens. My guess is that it's going to go through a review period of, let's see, up to 72 hours, just like with the printed format. So I'm going to keep it at that. When it's ready, once again, I'm just going to buy one copy for myself. Don't worry, I will be getting 70% royalty on this $9.99 price, so it's not like I paid the whole price. Anyway, we're done, and now we're going to be waiting for the review to be over. You will notice that I don't have to just wait for the email. I can, whenever I look at my bookshelf here, I can see that the Kindle ebook is in review. Well, this was a bit of a surprise. It didn't even take 3 hours since I left the file, and the status in my Kindle bookshelf shows publishing. Publishing means that it is being published. A confirmation will be sent once it goes live on store. Typically, if in the past I had issues, then I would actually get a message that there are issues and it would stop back at draft. But right now it says publishing, so it's on its way. Well, surprise number two in the same day. It merely has been 5 hours since I started uploading or working on a Word document file to convert it to Kindle, and it has already been through the review process, and it says that the book is now live. What I'm going to do is, there is no option here to get author copies, and that is simply because author copies are available only for printed books. So I'm going to go to an Amazon account, and typically what I do is I just click Can I Trust You, Yoram Solomon. It gives me my entire series of books. This is the book that we have just published. It does not say, like this one, for example, that the other format is Kindle. But when I click on it, you can see that there are two versions here. It says that I purchased it twice. The first time I purchased it just like any customer. The second time that I purchased it was as author copies in bulk, so I can give books away in events. I'm going to click on Kindle, and sure enough, we have the Kindle offering here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to buy with one click. It's going to go to my library. So I'm purchasing this book just like any other customer would, not as an author. Of course, the difference is that I will actually be getting royalties, 70% royalties, so pretty much $7 on the $9.99. And the next step, I'm going to look at this and see what it looks like on my Kindle device. I'm not sure that it's going to look perfect or good, so I'm going to include a few screenshots and in the next part of this video. Well, I downloaded the book to my iPad, and these are screenshots from my iPad, starting from the cover through the first several pages. I flipped and went into different pages. I have to say that I am really very happy with the result, with the quality of the result of this book. This is what happens when you use it sideways. And finally, I went to my reports section in KDP, and what I found was, other than the hard copy paperback units that were shipped, these are my units that I ordered as an author. This one is actually an order of an ebook, which is mine, that I ordered today. So this is it. This is the end of the process. It took 5 hours, pretty much 5 hours from having a Word document until I downloaded that book into my Kindle app on my iPad. I hope this was helpful. In future videos, I will talk more about formatting, specifically formatting for the paperback version. I recorded this video for you, based on what currently exists and what I know right now. But things change, new technology, new products, new software versions, new ideas that I get, some of them from viewers like you. If you want to be informed when I release new videos with new or updated content, subscribe to this channel and get notified when I release them. Oh, and you can also like this video. Also, check out my resources for speakers like you who want to do things yourself at thediyspeaker.com.